Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 zombie infections in video games. For this list, we'll be looking at the origins for some of the most terrifying infections in video games that ravaged humanity throughout their many different variations and interpretations of zombies. Which zombie outbreak do you think you'd be most likely to survive? Let us know down in the comments. Number 10. The Freaker Virus. Days Gone.
Damn alarm.
If you're working in a scientific lab and suddenly all of your clearances are revoked and you're not allowed to question what the lab is working on, it's a pretty safe bet you should probably seek employment elsewhere. The Freaker Virus, born from experiments on an indigenous flower in Oregon, is most similar to the rabies virus and causes the infected to become insanely aggressive, animalistic, and, of course, cannibalistic. One of the few zombie viruses to also infect wildlife, the Freaker Virus managed to wipe out 1/3 of the world's population in only 2 weeks and has a 100% infection rate, leaving what remains of humanity on the brink of extinction.
Yeah, that's right.
Number 9. The Chimeran Virus. Resistance Series. Few infections have been this long coming. The Chimera inhabited Earth over 60 million years before humanity, and after being forced to abandon Earth, returned to take back the planet at the start of the 20th century. The Chimeran virus evolved throughout the series, first infecting the host body using crawlers, before carting the bodies back to a conversion center to complete the transformation, to using spinners by the third game, which is a quicker and more aggressive conversion process. All Chimeran infected are stripped of their humanity and become complete subservient husks who live only to follow the hive mind-like structure of the Chimera. Although a cure was eventually found, it might have come too late for whatever remained of life on Earth. Number 8. The Scourge of the Beast. Bloodborne. While most viruses are accidentally created in the pursuit of some greater good, there are few with such malicious intent as the Scourge of the Beast. Born of the ashen blood that originally infected the residents of Old Yarnum, the Healing Church used blood administration as a cure to combat this disease. This miraculous cure, however, contained a side effect the Church was fully aware of and orchestrated from the beginning with the creation of the ashen blood. Infecting the population over time and slowly transforming them into beasts, all in the pursuit of finding a surrogate for the return of the Great Ones, which the Church secretly worshipped as gods and were willing to sacrifice their own citizens to see their return to our realm. Number 7. Ampulex compressa giganteus. Dead Rising series. Yet another world-ending infection born of good intentions. While searching for a way to increase cattle population, scientists discovered a previously unknown species of wasp, and that's when everything went downhill. After experimenting on other animals with the wasp queens, one escaped and began to infect humans. The queens seem to be directly linked to the zombies in that if the queen is killed, all the zombies in the immediate area are also dispatched in a very expedient manner. The infection rate is different depending on where the infection takes place, with some taking a full 24 hours to turn. The drug Zombrex can slow the infection, and because corporate greed still exists even in the apocalypse, it is of course wildly expensive. Number 6. The Green Flu. Left 4 Dead series. Another mutated strain of rabies, initially covered up by CEDA, Left 4 Dead's version of the CDC, as nothing more than the flu, the facade was broken when the infection became too much to contain. The green flu infection results in what is mostly commonly associated with generic or common zombies that are fast-moving and attack on sight. However, if a host comes into contact with a mutated strain, then the resulting infection can lead to the special infected such as the tank, the hunter, or the boomer that only attack when provoked or its prey is in its direct vicinity. Unlike most zombie infections, the green flu seems less interested in spreading the disease and making anything and everything that isn't infected less alive. Number 5. The Haran Virus, Dying Light series.
Okay, Jade, I'm here, along with some infected.
Watch yourself, Crane.
Rabies strike again. Despite various opinions on the virus's origins, from aliens to government experimentation, the Haran virus is definitely one of the fastest spreading zombie infections. Although vulnerable to UV light, the infection can take effect long before any UV light treatment can be applied. If bitten, the only true way of stopping the spread is to cut off the path of infection, literally. Given the disease's aversion to UV light, the most highly infected hosts are nocturnal, making travel after dark especially dangerous. Although there is a suppressant with the drug antizin, if not used at the earliest stages of infection, hosts will begin to deteriorate at a rapid pace, becoming increasingly aggressive and attacking anyone unlucky enough to be within biting distance. Number 4. The Flood, Halo series. Few infections can also be so catastrophic that they require the entire eradication of all species to stop. The Flood are an invasive species that share one mind and can quickly overtake their hosts in a variety of gruesome ways. Even more terrifying, when enough hosts have been assimilated, a grave mind is formed into a singular consciousness that controls the Flood through intelligent and complex strategies to ensure the continuation of its species. Master Chief encounters the Flood on multiple occasions during his time on the Halo Rings, and even teams up with them to stop the firing of all the Halo Rings, before the Flood, of course, turns on him in the end. Number 3. Necromorphs, Dead Space series. Quite possibly the most horrific infection on this list, the Necromorphs' only purpose is to spread their virus as quickly and as thoroughly as they can. Once the infection takes a host, living or not, the body is mutated beyond recognition and will instantly attack anything not already infected. Born of exposure to markers, the infection is controlled through these markers by the Brethren Moons, entire planets consumed by necrotic flesh, whose only goal is to consume more planets to create more Brethren Moons. Some civilizations have foolishly even created their own markers for study, believing since they were artificial there would be no consequences. Even more disturbing are the cults that worship these markers and the moons as the next evolution of humanity. Number 2. The Cordyceps Virus, The Last of Us series.
Go!
Like many other entries on this list, some of the scariest infections are based on species or parasites from real life. Born from a mutated version of the Cordyceps parasite that normally only attacks ants, the spread to humanity was quick and effective. Depending on the type of infection, hosts can live up to 48 hours before the effects of the virus are noticeable, and once the infection takes hold, the spores grow over the brain, and the infected becomes increasingly violent. The infection can continue to grow over time if the host survives long enough until they become the form known as clickers, using echolocation to hunt uninfected. The only true form of protection are gas masks to prevent spore infection and wide open areas. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The T-Virus, Resident Evil series. The granddaddy of zombie infections, the T-Virus is by far the most well-known and most versatile of all zombie infections. Throughout the extensive series, the T-Virus has had more mutations and more variations than any other infection in the history of video games. Later found to be a result of experimentation on the mold, and even as far-reaching as the Las Plagas in Resident Evil 4, Umbrella's flagship virus is spread far and wide across the Earth, and everyone with a passing interest in chemistry seems to be able to manipulate it for their nefarious purposes. With the Resident Evil series going stronger than ever, and Umbrella seemingly gone for good, their legacy with the T-Virus might just outlast us all. In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.